I don't think people realize just how close we are to our current way of life changing forever. We are hanging in a very fine balance right now, and the future is looking very uncertain. Things could go one way, or they could go the complete opposite way. And I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think social media is one of the driving factors behind this. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Because social media, I believe, is basically causing the de-evolution of our species. It is causing us to devolve at an unprecedented rate. And that is mostly because it is degrading our morals. It's degrading our values. It is dehumanizing us. It is causing people to lose respect for the people around them, for everything around them. Because you got to think about how much time the average person spends on social media. And think about the implications of that. Because when you go on social media, the algorithm is trained in a way that it essentially knows you. It knows what elicits an emotional response from you because it wants to keep you on the platform the longest it possibly can. And obviously it's doing a very good job of that. So they have created the endless scroll, doom scrolling. You get on there and most of the stuff you see, the emotional response it's going to elicit from you is going to be something negative. It's going to be fear-based. It's going to be something that gets you worked up inside because that is going to hold your attention. And that is kind of hyperstimulation. And when you think about being hyperstimulated, it makes you numb to everything else. It's almost like eating hyperpalatable food. When you eat something that tastes fantastic and you go back to eating normal food that is grown in the soil, it tastes bland. And people are like, I don't know how you stick to this kind of diet because everything tastes like cardboard. Well, if you weren't eating all this hyper-stimulating, hyper-palatable food, normal food would taste fantastic. And people see that when they go back to eating normal food, all that stuff starts to taste good again. It's the same thing with social media. It causes normal life, the day-to-day, all the stuff in between, all the fantastic things that happen in your life, it causes all that to become mundane. And then you just essentially become numb to life because most of your life is going to be the mundane. It's going to be the boring stuff, the stuff in between, the highlight reels. And another thing social media has done is it has created the bystander effect. Because now you have something that will happen in the world around us, something bad maybe, something that people don't agree with, and nobody does anything. Because everybody assumes that the other person, the people that are also around watching this happen, that they're going to do something. That is the bystander effect, because when everybody believes that the other person is going to do something, nobody does anything. This has been witnessed, and this has been studied. This is a very real phenomenon that happens. And another phenomenon that happens when we have social media and all these people essentially at our fingertips is that humans can only feel emotion for about 150 people on average. That's it. So if you think about how many people that you see in your social media feed, when you go online, it's way more than 150 people. So since you can't feel emotion for all these people, again, you essentially become numb to everybody. And that is essentially the life that we have created, is that I guess you could say we've created a society of people that are just numb. People that don't stand up and do anything. They don't fight for what's right. Because all of this stuff that's happening around us, all the stuff that's going on in the world, it very literally is hanging in a very fine balance. And at any moment, things could go sideways. Our way of living and the current reality that we're all living in, which is actually pretty good right now. I know a lot of people have gripes and stuff about it, and there are some things that are kind of bad, but we do have it pretty good. But all that stuff is hanging in a very fine balance, and at any moment, a couple things could change, and this way of life could change forever. And I don't think people realize just how close we are to that happening. And I know there's an argument that is often made that says if it weren't for social media, we wouldn't know all of this bad stuff is happening. All of the deception and all the lies and all that stuff, we wouldn't be made aware of, because social media in a big way is how people get their information. That's where a lot of people go now for their news. But this is where it's a paradox, because if it weren't for social media, a lot of these things that are happening around us would not be happening, especially not at the scale that they are, because the people at the top, the people pushing a lot of these narratives and a lot of these agendas, they use social media as the means to push these narratives into our lives. If you think about 50, 70 years ago, The only way they had to push a narrative was radio and TV. So the people that hear the narrative are only the people that are watching TV or listening to the radio. Not everybody's going to hear it. And it's not going to spread like wildfire like it does today, because now they can push something out and make it seem like this is the idea that everybody believes in. They can make the voice of the few reach many, and that is what gets adopted. Because everybody, millions, and possibly billions of people around the world see it in real time. And a lot of us fall for it. A lot of the stuff that is pushed out to us, we drink the Kool-Aid. And that's just the truth of the matter. You know, we don't like to admit that fact, but the fact is, a lot of us have been played, and we fall victim to a lot of these narratives and a lot of these ideologies that get pushed out. And in a lot of cases, people adopt these things as their own beliefs. And when they adopt them as their own beliefs, it becomes their identity. They shape their personality and who they are around these things. And that's another thing that social media exploits, is our inability to be wrong. Nobody wants to be wrong. And if you go on social media, nobody wants to be wrong. People will cling to a belief, they will cling to an idea and an ideology just for the sake of not being wrong, even if it's not right. That has also bred this generation, or this society of virtue. Toxic compassion is what I call it, because you have all of these things that are done in the name of compassion, in the name of virtue, and doing what's right, even though the thing that they're doing in the name of virtue and compassion isn't right. And if you think about all of history, think about all the horrible things that have happened, all the wars that have been fought, all of the people that have been slaughtered in the name of virtue and compassion and doing what's right. The idea that people do not want to be wrong, they are not willing to be wrong. This is the way it has to be. And if you don't follow this, if you don't follow this virtuous path, this path that is right, you are wrong. Therefore, you must be eliminated. This is not a new concept. This is something that has always existed. But again, social media has increased this. It has caused this to get profoundly worse, because now everybody on social media wants to be right. And I see this all the time in engagement farming. Some people put out reels and they'll intentionally mispronounce a word, or they'll spell something wrong, and people will chime in the comments and they will engage with that post, because nobody wants to be wrong. They all have to be right. They all have to call it out because they have to be right. And people know that now, and they use that to boost their engagement on their posts. This is what social media is being used for. Yes, social media can be a great thing. It allows you to connect with people all around the globe. It allows you to reach like-minded people that you would normally never have access to. It allows you to get information at your fingertips and understand what is going on in the world around you. But it is very much a double-edged sword, because on the other side of things, all of this other stuff is happening, and I would like to say it's happening in the background, but it's happening right in our faces. And the worst part about that is that most of us go along with it. Most of us just accept it, and most of us just brush it off because people are just numb. They aren't willing to feel the emotion. They see that things are going on around them that they don't agree with, but they'd rather stay in their comfort and do nothing. They'd rather feel numb than feel the emotion, and to stand for their beliefs and do what is actually right. And all of this numbness and all the stuff we're talking about here, it has caused people to lose their regard for human life in general. All of this stuff is very dehumanizing, because people are more concerned about being virtuous and being right than the actual truth. People are more concerned about staying in their comfort zone than sacrificing a little bit of that comfort now so that they can avoid a lifetime of discomfort later. They would rather put on the appearance of being virtuous and compassionate than give any regard to whether or not what they're doing is actually right. And all of this has caused people to become divided over pretty much everything. If you think about all the division that is basically in society today, people are divided over everything. Again, it's because people have adopted these ideas as their own beliefs, and that has shaped their identity. That is who they are. So if there's something that they believe within their heart of hearts, they're going to defend it. And they are going to allow that to divide them, because challenging that belief means challenging their identity. It means challenging who they are, and most people are not willing to do that. That makes people too uncomfortable, and they are not willing to sacrifice the comfort that they have to challenge their beliefs, to maybe be wrong. And I believe it's high time that we take this very seriously, and we think about ways that we can combat this. Because if we don't, there is a very real possibility that our current way of life could change forever. And that could happen much sooner than most of us realize. So with that said, what can we do to combat this? What can we do to push back against this and hopefully change the course of history? I think that all starts with how we spend our time, where we put our attention. And a lot of that means getting away from social media as much as possible and getting back to the real world. If you are going to partake in social media, just understand that it's okay to be wrong. You don't have to be right about everything. And just because you believe something to be true doesn't necessarily mean it's true. And in that same vein, two things can also be true at the same time. Not everything has to be an absolute, because when you get stuck in this absolutist way of viewing things, it leaves you very closed-minded. And I think that's another way to combat this, is just allowing yourself to have an open mind. Being open-minded to the fact that other people have different opinions on things. That doesn't necessarily have to divide us. It's not a matter of arguing with one another and debating one another. It's a matter of getting back to discussion and discourse. These are the two things that we take for granted. Instead of doing those things now, we just bicker at each other. We get on social media and we gripe about life. We talk about all the terrible things that we don't agree with going on in the world around us. All the stuff in society that we don't align with. But that's another place where we're getting it wrong, because when we go on social media and we do that, it gives us this false perception that we're actually doing something productive, that we're doing something that's going to turn things around. But by bickering about it on social media and arguing with our neighbors, that is not doing anything productive. That is taking us in the opposite direction. It gives us this false idea that we're doing something good, but essentially we're just wasting time. We're sowing more division. So we need to get away from that. We need to get back to respecting one another and just having discussions, talking about things, helping people understand why you view things the way you do and how you came to those realizations. Find some middle ground. That's what it's really all about. Not having to have things one way or the other, but just finding some commonalities, because all of us have something in common. We are not as divided as we like to believe. And we actually do have more in common with one another than what we don't. A lot of this really just boils down to being willing to be wrong, being willing to be uncomfortable, to see the other side of things, and understanding that most of what is right or wrong is just a matter of perspective. Something that you see as right, somebody else could see as totally wrong, and vice versa. We have to be willing to accept that, and we have to be willing to reach some middle ground, to agree to disagree. And I would say that if you're unhappy about something, if there's something that goes against what you believe, and if there's something happening in your life that you don't align with, do something about it. Don't go on social media and bicker with one another. Actually do something. Get in touch with your local reps. Get in touch with the actual people around you and help them see your side of things. Have a rational discussion. A lot of this just comes down to being rational and having these discussions. Talk to people in your tribe. Build a tribe around you. Use social media as a positive and use it as a way to find like-minded people, to find people around you that you actually align with, people that think the same way you do and that can relate with your ideas. And once you found those people, create a movement. We all like to believe that we as individuals can't make a change and we don't hold the power for change, but this is where we get it wrong. Because we as individuals, we can create that tribe. When we collectively come together over common ideas, common interests, and common goals, and are willing to sacrifice a little bit of discomfort now to avoid a lifetime of discomfort later, that is how we create meaningful and lasting change that ripples out, and that is how we change the course of history.